Tonight's edition of Art Scene focuses on sculptor Bob Wick. Art Scene is produced by KUAT's Sue Young Lee.
I'm obsessed with natural beauty. It constantly inspires me. It constantly gives me ideas and thoughts.
Sculptor Robert Wick lives in this isolated place near Bisbee to be closer to nature.
I get up and walk through this house every morning just to feel and sense the light and the change of light and how that is. But it's also to have access to all these trees, to the grass, to the space, to the rocks. And those things just constantly are messages to me about the magnificence and the amazing element of life.
And his sculptures are all about how to be one with nature.
The idea of putting plants in sculpture, it was like the plant was a symbol of nature and the sculpture was a symbol or metaphor of man. And by fusing the two, or putting the two together, they sort of added a layer of meaning. If you notice, you can change plants, you change the character of the sculpture. You know, if you use succulents that are harsh and sharp and cute, well, those kind of shaped things imply something about the image that it may be with. If you plant ferns or fir trees or things like that, or soft things, then that makes another kind of statement. The plants really serve another layer of meaning of our union with nature and that oneness that's a part of all of us, that I think. And unfortunately, in our society, which breaks things down to isolated elements, we don't see ourselves as a kind of a part of a whole, or the whole. From childhood, even in first grade in school, I was drawing three-dimensionally. I tend to be somewhat colorblind, so the result of that is that I don't see color as intensely as other people, and I tend to see shape and form much more strongly. I even think of simple things like making a snowball. I grew up in Ohio, and when we make a snowball, I can make a perfect snowball, perfectly round. Whereas most people, I was amazed to find out everyone else couldn't do that.
Wick pursued a journalism degree to follow his family tradition. His father, Milton Wick, co-founded Wick Communications, which now owns 32 newspapers, 23 specialty publications, and 1 radio station in 13 states.
Well, I grew up in a newspaper family, and I worked in the newspaper as a kid, and did everything from sweeping floors to whatever they wanted me to do. Dad was a person who had a terrific sales ability. He was a salesman, kind of. Put himself through school, and then bought a newspaper in one of the most difficult places he humanly could try to make a living with, and became very successful at it. But my father certainly wanted me in the business. When I posed the question of wanting to go into art, he said, whatever it is you want to do, I will support that. He said, I present that to you too. If you ever want to come back to the newspapers, I'd love to have you. But I understand that you need to seek your own identity. And that was a great gift that my father gave to me. And of course, I came back to the newspapers anyway. I'm on the board. I talk about editorials and I give ideas, possibility of places that we might be interested in purchasing maybe sometime or something like that. It's very balancing for me. And some people, could maybe deal just with art or just with newspapers. I couldn't. I think it would be very, very difficult for me to just deal with one and not the other. And I've got that and that, but I mean, we need to do that. We need to clear up and finish up.
Most of Wick's sculptures are larger than life size. Scale serves an important function in his work.
I probably, for every piece because I put in 3 dimensions, I may do maybe nearly 50 or 100 drawings. And I pick a piece, and then I'll make that into a model, and the model may be 2 or 3 feet. And from that, I'll go to a large scale. The reason for the large scale is because really I love the outdoors. But sculpture, to exist in nature and have a sort of entity unto itself, must be of a certain scale. I mean, you can't put a a small little piece that's 2 or 3 feet long and stick it out in nature and expect it to have any significance, because it won't. But if you pick something that's 7 or 10 or 15 feet tall, then it certainly has an impact and a relationship space-wise to trees and plants and other things, as well as human beings who come up and walk up next to it. It really is talking about finding that all things are really one, and that there's an absolute wonder and magic to this existence. And maybe if I can make you a little bit more conscious of that in what I do, well, then I've succeeded.
For KUAT, I'm Su-Yang Lee.